You've got to get up and start over every day. What is the worth of the product that you have in your hand right now? I really just woke up and I decided that I'm going to stop wasting my time. That's when you realize, who is Palesa Mokubung?
Welcome to the EMT podcast, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, innovation, and all things hustle. I'm your host, Miles Kubheka, in this exciting journey. Today, we are thrilled to announce that MTN is taking over the EMT podcast for the next 3 episodes. MTN Pulse is not just about connecting you to the world. It's also about empowering young entrepreneurs through the incredible Youth Hustle Hub campaign. This initiative features on-the-ground and online activities designed to facilitate trade opportunities for young hustlers like you. In this special series, we explore inspiring stories, share practical strategies, and keep you motivated. All brought to you by MTN Pulse Youth Hustle Hub. So grab a notebook, get ready to be inspired, and let's jump into today's episode. Remember to get affordable deals, dope rewards, and cool experiences. Simply join MTN Pulse by dialing *411# or join on the MTN app. Let's operate. Hashtag MTN Pulse, hashtag Let's Operate, hashtag Youth Hustle Hub.
If you're down to take it to the top, get the 10 gigs MTN Pulse Youth Bundle for only 49 Rand and operate to the highest level. It all hits different with the best data deals, so let's operate. Sebenza nzima.
I feel so underdressed. I dig everything about
Don't,
you.
it's my job.
Oh, no. There's a job and then there's you, the personality.
Thank you.
The most part I'm interested in is the journey. Where did it start? Did you always know that you were cut differently from the rest of the cloth when you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I have a brother who is 3 years older than me, and he's a graphic designer. My father is an artist, and my mom is an intellectual. And my mother raised my brother and I to be creatives. So she really encouraged us to create all the time. So during public Mother's Day, you were required to create something, write something, perform something, make something, draw something. It was always, a requirement for us. So we kind of grew up knowing how to express ourselves or learning how to express ourselves and knowing that you can get through life, just doing that. And you get to learn about your passions in the process. You get to learn how to dive deep into, really who you are. And that is enough. I've always felt like I was enough. I need education, I needed it, but I knew that me just going in with my interests, if I follow my interests, they will get me to where I need to go.
I don't know if you realize how blessed you are. And I think a lot of people here are creatives, hence the environment we are in. And most of the time, parents are not really supportive of creatives because of cultural stigma in terms of it's hard and you don't make money and all of those things. So people or parents want their kids to be, the traditional STEM route. So you were privileged. You were lucky that your parents literally kind of pushed you into it.
No, you're not lucky because you actually do not make money for a while. And even if your parents, even though my mother believed in me, the community did not. The popular opinion was that you're not going to make it. Why would you? I mean, she had people in her ear saying, why would you do that to both your children? Why would you let them go into that field, both of them? So I felt privileged in that my mom, took me to a lot of my firsts and saw me succeed in some small ways and saw me kind of fail and helped to pick me up. But I think that a lot of the work always ended with me. My mother just kind of said, yes, I can do this, but I needed to figure out what that was. So when I was in matric, for example, I did not know what I was going to study. Like I was telling you earlier, I did not know what I was going to study, but we both knew in the house that it would be something in the arts because my brother was already a graphic designer. He's 3 years older than me. And how I knew that I would be in the same field is because My brother was studying at AAA at the time, and in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., he comes in with a card that he had drawn that as an assignment, and he wakes me up in the middle of the night, and he says to me, Palesa, look at this car. Does it look like it's moving? And I'm thinking, I don't know, bruh. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if the car looks like it's moving or not. It's, I don't know I don't know. And then that morning, I woke up knowing that whatever it is that I wanted to do, I needed to have the same amount of passion that my brother had for what he does. And that's how I kind of had a sense that I would end up in the creative field. And then my mother suggested fashion. She suggested it the morning of registration. It wasn't like a long conversation that we had been having all these years. No. She suggested it the day I went to register that, why don't you try fashion? And luckily when I got there, fashion had the shortest queue. So I joined that queue, and that's how I ended up here. But remember, I started spreading a rumor after I registered that I was going to become a famous fashion designer. I started telling everybody.
Was there any inclination that you were like making fashion garments before even registering?
To cut things up, I like to cut things up in the house.
So
I like
your
to
mom
cut
saw
blankets.
that?
Yeah, I like to cut blankets. I like to cut my mom's clothes. I got into trouble, because of that. But it wasn't up until that moment that I decided that I would do everything in my power. But the thing about me is that, guys, you have to love to work. Whatever it is, even if it's your 9-to job, you've got to love to do it. You pretend to love to do it if you don't. You just got to love to work. I'm a bit of a worker bee. I wanted to work at McDonald's, for God's sake. I just wanted to work, when I was in grade 8 or whatever. I just wanted to work. So I think that you have to be hungry, and that cannot depend on what it is that you're doing. And once you are fed, so you have to be hungry, but once you are fed, you have to go hunting on a full stomach. You can't look for something because you need it. When you get it, you've got to look for more so that you can provide for others.
You also mentioned a really interesting part, and that is when you got there and you registered, you spread that rumor that you're going to be. So that was, in a sense of manifestation. You were telling the universe and whoever else was listening, good wena, you're not just doing this to be an also-ran.
Yeah, I think also I was desperate, I think, I don't know who else feels desperate here, but I was really desperate to get out of the hood. I was really desperate to make something of myself, to spend my time doing something that I loved. I was really desperate to have the good things in life. I saw myself as someone who could have a car one day. I was a baby, but it was an aspiration. So I was really desperate for good things. It can be, there's two connotations. Anything can be good or bad. Anything can be good. It depends on perspective. So my desperation was around just really wanting to make something of myself. And I needed something to hold on to. Hence, I started that rumor. I like accountability. So I wanted my mother to say to me one day, didn't you say you're going to be a fashion designer or a famous fashion? I wanted that, from somebody. But I started it. So I don't know who else is feeling desperate. It's not a bad thing if you hone it and you kind of focus on what you want.
I would even maybe reframe it and say it's just hunger for whatever. And also maybe to take that point, like I think you are throwing out pearls of wisdom so early in the morning, in that like being held accountable. My mother reminded me this the other day that when I was in school, I wrote on the back of my wardrobe like the things I was going to accomplish. I wrote them all, like this year I'm going to be prefect, this year I'm going to be this and this, all the way down to when I was going to get married, like all of it. I was like, and I didn't achieve all of them, but I achieved about 85% of them in different ways. So I didn't become the first black head boy at the school, but I became a prefect nonetheless. And what that means is that even if you set your goals so high, even if you fail amongst the, like, you know what I mean? They say shoot for the moon, but even if you fail, you'll be amongst the stars, kind of thing. So that is so true, but it also makes you accountable to your own dreams. Because it's easy to talk, it's very hard to do. But you've also done really, really cool things. You've done Fashion Week. You've collaborated with the likes of H&M, a client of mine as well. So super cool to see that. Tell me how that journey has been between the fashion side, the creative side, as well as now the entrepreneurial business side.
So, my business turns 20
Yep.
this year, which means...
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No longer a teenager.
Which means I'm 20 years older than when I started. When I started, I was about, your age.
Would you recommend people to start that early just because of your learning?
So I didn't go from school to running a business immediately. I worked at a retail store for 3 years before I started my own business. And I did just about everything and anything. If they said wash the walls, I would have washed the walls. And no, I wouldn't suggest that you go from school to starting your own business. I think you've got to go and learn for a good, 3 is a magic number. Go and learn for 3 years.
From
if
someone
you're young,
else.
from somebody else. Yeah. You've got to go and learn from someone else for 3 to maybe 5 years and really, really take in. You have to have questions in your pocket at all times. I still have that till today. If I bump into someone I really admire in my field or I whip up a question immediately, be it in the lift, be it in the plane, be it at the airplane, it doesn't matter where. I whip up a question anytime. I know when to be a student. I don't ask for mentors. I have many. They don't know that they're my mentors. None of them know this. None of them know. There are many. I've been asking them questions for many years. They've been helping me for many, many years. All I do is just assume the position of a student when I see them. I whip out the questions and then I take what I can take and I run with it. So no, I would not suggest that you start. I think that you've got to learn quite a bit and then kind of find your own way. And the journey to getting to 20 has not been easy. I was a teenager and I ran my company like a teenager for many years.
What does that mean?
It's very bad. No, it just means that I was not very, responsible. My example of running a business came from, I don't know, maybe TV. I did not know anybody who ran a business in my family. There was no entrepreneur in my family. I didn't have a living, example. The company that I worked at, gave me some kind of faint idea, but I didn't have a role model. So I did what I could, but I needed to be a teenager at the same time because my friends were in school, but I had a business. I had a car and they had, I picked them up all from varsity and then Relo Groover. But I'm paying salaries for a while. And I'm glad that I did that because I was laying down a very strong foundation. So what I'm getting at is that you've got to cut yourself some slack. You've got to be who you are. You've got to be the age that you're at. So if you make mistakes right now, it's fine. They are parallel to your age. It is what you're supposed to be doing. And if you do if you're able to create, also give yourself props. If you groove, also give yourself props.
Right.
That you grooved is good.
Because that's the part of your journey.
It's part of it. You've got to be who you are at the stage that you're meant to be. Don't find yourself fully 40 ura I get groove. So now groover and the kids are at home waiting for you, Marwena Olo groove. Do you understand? Yeah. You've got to be who you are. And it's all about balance. I didn't know that at the time, but I think I balanced it really well. That's why I'm here today. But at the time, I was hard on myself a little bit. So it's been a journey. How do I get recognized by these big companies? Is that at some point I woke up. I really just woke up and I decided that I'm going to stop wasting my time. I'm really going to stop wasting my time with too many friends, too much of the stuff that's really not good, and focus on my talent. I spoke to my dad once and he said to me, just after I woke up, he said to me, the day that you woke up, and when the nickel drops, when you are when you're starting to change your mind about who you are, when you're starting to run towards your goals, when you're starting to know them, when they're starting to be clear in your head, when you're starting to pinpoint the 5 people who are for you, because you can have a lot, but there've got to be 5 that are really, really strong, for you. Once you're there, then my father said, that's when life actually starts. Only once you realize that moment, that's when then your life really, really starts. That's when you realize, who is Palesa Mokubung? I met myself that day.
I do want to go back to the previous question about like the interrelationship between creativity and business. But as you're speaking, another question jumped up earlier in my mind when you were talking about how supportive your parents were. And speaking now about your dad again, you've got young kids. Would you firstly push them towards the fashion industry, secondly into entrepreneurship?
My kids are going to be who they are. They come from me, so they're probably super creative. My 5-year-old is already showing signs, too many signs. I would support them and I would just love them. That's all I know, how to do. And then I'll try to do even, better than that. I'll try to do what my parents did for me and a little bit more.
When you're in your creative space, I'm sure you are in your element, but business is a totally different thing. Entrepreneurship is different. Yeah. And how have you merged the two? How have you figured it out?
Yeah, it's really, that business one is really, really difficult. First of all, you have to really read. You have to be interested in business. And you can go to school for that, but you can also educate yourself. Information is free. Free. I Googled something yesterday that I want to do, and it was just all right there. I have to learn how to do it. Story for another day. But information is out there for us. But sometimes you need more than that. All the time, actually, you need more than that. You need somebody who can really hold your hand. Someone in business. So remember earlier I was talking about the 5 people in your corner. So over the years, I've met 5 people who really, really are, I call them my board of directors. They don't know it, but they really are. So it is someone in business who I met just by chance through SA Fashion Week. I was introduced to them and they said to me, they gave a talk and I was, just blown away because I was really in need of the kind of help that they were, and expertise that they had. So after the talk, I went to them and I introduced myself, and they said to me, they said one very powerful thing. They said to me, call me when you have a problem. This was maybe 15 years ago. They said, call me. I've been calling them since. Gavin Reddy. He's like family now. And he's given me homeworks over the past. He's given me challenges. And he's become a real sounding voice in my business. So you've got to have that person. They're not going to come to you. You have to find them. It's got to be someone that you can connect to beyond that subject. It's got to be someone that you feel like, okay, good person for me. I feel free around them. And it's got to be like a genuine connection. So I've got a person in business that I go to. And then I've got a person, and then I've got my mom. She takes care of my emotions. I don't know what's happening. She preps me up. And then I've got someone that I talk to when I have creative, issues. I've got someone, Lucilla, the founder of SA Fashion Week. And then there's someone who just takes care of my mind. And then there's someone, and then I've got my partner as well, who just, takes care of everything, really. He's more like a tough love. Tough love. You also need somebody who will give you tough, who will tell you like it is. When you've done it, they'll shower you with flowers. When you didn't do it, they will stand here and say you can do better.
Wow, nice.
Right? So that's how I've been able to kind of navigate my business life. It's not, I would not be able to hold up my business if I did not have the support structure that I have. And support won't always come from your family. It really won't. And it's okay, if it doesn't. But you've got to know when it's there. And when somebody tells you to call them, please do yourself a favor and call them. I asked Gavin the other day, like, why have you, stood by me for so long? And she said, he said, I met so many designers that day, many years ago, when I gave that talk. And some of them spoke to me, but none of them followed through. You've been following through since day one.
I can't echo that enough. You know how many people come up to me and say, oh, dude, can you be my mentor or take my number? Let's say out of 1,000 people whom I've given out my number to, guess how many have actually ever followed up and called? 4. So people get hyped up after you talk, and they're like, so, like, yeah, I want to change the world. Kausani, back to life, normal, like, and then the other important thing is, like, Gavin is busy. Like, if there's other 100 people who are asking for his time, you're going to give your time to people who are coming to you prepared. I'm not going to shoot the breeze with you like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. Bruh, if you don't know how am I going to help you? I can only help you when there's something I can actually help you with. Rather use my time for something specific, because then I can add value to both of us. So I don't feel like I've wasted my time and vice versa. And it's not an arrogant thing. It's about, there's just so many people. Yeah, so the interesting thing is generally people tend not to follow up. So if you can take one keynote from today, follow up, because people will help, but also they will help if they can see that you are intentional, or you're coming prepared, and to help you on a specific thing. And you'll even see it today when we get to the questions. See how many people tell a story before they actually ask the question. Ask the question. People don't know how to ask questions. Ask the question. So, because that shows that you are crystal clear about what you want to get out. The ask is super important. Have you seen this in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I have the privilege now of asking my 5, or telling a story to my 5, board of directors. But before then, like if I bump into someone else in the lift, I go straight to the questions. I have to. And I go straight to number 2, number 3. I use my time and their time, wisely. And some of those lessons have stuck with me, really, really stuck. And that were really just random. It was just random. So you have to have your top 3 questions with you at all times.
In terms of seeing, you've gone global, you work with multinationals, you've literally broken some serious barriers, right? What are some of the lessons you've picked up from that, working with big multinational companies? Like, what's the lay of the land in that relation?
Big is kind of relative, My interns come in and they think it's a big moment. It's huge for them. It's always frightening to be faced with a new opportunity. And it is okay. When the international client came through, I felt ready. H&M called me and they said they have shortlisted 3 designers in Africa that they want to choose one to work with. And they're coming. It was a local team that called me first, had a meeting with me. I said, okay, sure. I was pregnant and I didn't tell them at the time, because I thought, we're not going to be friends. I'm not going to get this. I never got anything, that big. It was something that I'd never, ever even dreamt of. And can I just say that something that you've never, ever, ever dreamt of is coming to you?
And when it did come,
when it came, and the global team came, I was so ready because I was working diligently and quietly. Sometimes you just got to put your head down and work for a while. You've got to focus. So when it did come, they met with me and I was myself. Please learn to be yourself today, ne? You have to learn how to be. You have to love yourself and know yourself and accept yourself and celebrate yourself and be comfortable with who you are, okay? Because everybody's looking for authenticity. Anything else feels weird and forced. And I think that I knew that we would work together when I found myself sitting with the global team on the pavement outside my shop. That this is real. This is really real. This is not it's not something I've never ever thought of. But still didn't think about it because I was pregnant, I thought, I'm winning anyway. Even if I don't get this deal, I'm about to have my first baby, yay. But I did get the deal. They called me, I was doing my nails. I couldn't scream, but deep inside, I was screaming. I was so excited. And I went on to work with them for a year before making the announcement to the world that I'd been working with them, that we were putting out this collection. So by the time everyone heard, we had become friends. I had had a baby already, and the collection was brewing, and it was a global collaboration. It wasn't just like a South African, a local collaboration. It was a global collaboration. So that really, really made a mark for me. But what made the The difference is that I had my ducks in a row, which is why there's time for everything. There's really time for everything. If you can't focus on social media and you can only post once a week, it's fine. As long as the rest of the week you're building your business and you're about your business and you're doing something about, your life, you're putting things in order, then it's fine. So when they came in, I was really, really ready for the and they want everything. They wanted financials for the last 5 years, just to qualify, and everything was literally a matter of pressing a button. So you have got to get your business in place, no matter how small. You've got to get your business in place. Okay.
Those are pearls right there. You know how many people have missed out on opportunities because the basics are not right.
Word on the street is just that. Words. No one's really walking the talk.
It's promises, future plans, possibilities.
So much sekgowa. And for what exactly?
Safa.
In fact, we've heard it all before. It's like a song on repeat.
Let's get through it already.
Let's drop the mic, roll up our sleeves, and get it.
So if you're down for less what ifs, maybes, more action.
And if you understand the assignments.
Join MTN Pulse, a platform that empowers the youth with exclusive, affordable data offers.
That gives us access to educational platforms, career and lifestyle rewards, and so many more.
We've got the receipts.
MTN Pulse is giving Palesa. Giving, don't worry about it.
There are perks for days, rewards always, monthly and yearly. Just because you're part of the fam.
I mean, if you got someone who backs you like that, come on, let's operate.
Dial *411# to join MTN Pulse. For teens and under 25s, T's and C's apply.
Do you think there are specific challenges that come up just because you're a woman? In a sense that, for example, I would have never considered that you would need to consider the fact that you were pregnant a thing in a business deal, because obviously I haven't been pregnant myself. So to me, it would never have been a thing. But clearly, as a woman, these new or different considerations you have to go through specifically.
I think that it starts with me. I'm the one who was like, okay, do I want to do this and this, at the same time? And then secondly, will I be able to physically, When you're pregnant, sometimes you're just not able to. Luckily, I had a good one and I was able to push through. But also, luckily, the company that I was working with, H&M, and being a Swedish company, they are very pro-women.
They're massively pro.
Pro. So it was the perfect time. That's the thing. It's like when an opportunity is meant for you, everything is going to be meant for you.
Amen.
It's going to fall into place. You're going to get the right company, the right people at the right time. It's just going to flow, right? But you have to be ready to some extent. But the question around being a woman, I've always felt like my male peers are a lot more, celebrated, than I am as a female designer. But it's fine. It's fine because when the spotlight is not on you, you can work. You're free. You really are free to work.
You can do you.
You can do you. So look at it, as a blessing, because when your time does come, then you would have figured out what it is that you do, because you can only do you. I can't do what you do. I can't. Even at this level, I can't do what you do. I can only do what I do.
But the gender question is an interesting one. When you say it like the male counterparts are more celebrated, we see it in the culinary space. Male chefs are celebrated. Like, it's the weirdest thing in that the question then becomes, is it because they are good? Is it because they got good PR? Or is it the reverse? Is that female entrepreneurs or specialists put their head down and focus on getting the stuff done, whereas these ones are looking for the limelight? Like, which one is it? What is the cause?
I think it's all of the above, and the fact that women have
Underplay
got a lot
themselves?
more. No, you don't underplay yourself. You just operate differently. And also, women have a power about them that other women have to be ready to be in the space with you. I've had celebrities who've said to me, I couldn't wear your dress. I wasn't ready. I couldn't wear your dress. I couldn't, I needed to be at a certain place in my career to wear you. And I'm sitting here thinking, why are you wearing everybody else and not wearing me? What's wrong with me? So I think that we just operate very differently, but also you really have to know how to put yourself together. These guys are good, and everything adds, it's got to add up. No industry is going to celebrate you just because. It's because you're making, a difference, you're making a mark. Yes, you do have, good PR, you're putting yourself, it's a package. You have to know how to package yourself as a woman.
So basically, you're saying it's different people, different skill sets, serving different needs.
I think that you have to find your own woman. First of all, you have to be the woman that you want to dress. You have to be that woman for you to attract that woman. And it took me a long time. I needed to get my ducks in a row first. And I needed to understand my sense of style in order to package it and offer it to other women. And once I did that, it was easy for me to find them. And also then easy for me to not be bothered that one is not into me.
Makes perfect sense. And in terms of having like brands like MTN who create platforms like this to share with our live audience in terms of your insights and your learnings, how important do you think this is? Like, should we be having more of these sort of platforms?
We need them. We need so many things. We need so many things and so many spaces and so many resources and so many opportunities we need. I'm sitting here 20 years and I need so many things. I have a whole list of things that I need. And platform is one of them. Resources is one of them. An ear is one of them. This conversation is one of them. It's needed. It's really, really needed. But also, we have a responsibility, the audience,
to show up.
To show up. You have a responsibility to show up, and that is where kind of, I guess, the loophole it kind of is. You have a responsibility to search, and find somebody. It's not easy. So I think that we need so many things. The list is endless, and across the board, I think.
And I also think because why this matters, at least from my perspective, is that I started 2 businesses based on inspiration. I started a business based on a TV ad. I was inspired by Uvuyo selling Borovos rolls on the TV. And I thought, like, this guy, this is so cool. And I created a whole business based on that. So inspiration matters. People get inspired, and that's one part of the equation, obviously, and this is what platforms like this is, create the inspiration. I'm inspired just chatting to you. But the biggest part, or the second part of that equation, is the action. It's one thing to be inspired and you go back home and then life happens again. Then what was the point, right?
Yeah, very, very important. I started my business from just intuition. Same difference, really, just having a feeling that I could live in this industry. I should be able to have a good life, from this industry. This is one moment. The moments that really, really matter are those mundane, moments. Like when you are on your own during the week, Monday, Tuesday, like what's I eating, like every hour, every day. What can you tick off your list? That's what really builds business, that habit, that consistency. To go somewhere, to make that call, to really every hour to be doing something towards your grind. Those are the moments that really, really, really got me here. The big ones, love them, right?
They're random. They're not as often.
And I don't look like this. And when I'm doing the other moments, I'm in my office, I'm clean, I'm good. And then I'm home, I'm in my gown. And then I'm making deals. So don't look down on yourself if you are and you are making it. Don't. It is a crucial, crucial moment. So excellence is about like doing every little thing really well. That prepares you to do the big thing very good. You can breeze through it. You're kind of ready. So don't look down on your little moments, your quiet moments. Those are the real moments. those are the moments that got me here.
Now that we're here, what about tomorrow? What's the vision? What's the future looking like? And if I had a check that I could sign, what do you need to get to that vision of yours, essentially?
You want to offer me money?
Yeah, I didn't say it. Did you hear me say I'm offering money? I didn't say it.
Don't ask me. If you're not
Did you
ready
hear
to
me?
offer me money, please don't ask me how much I need. It was implied, it was, right? I need a lot. I need a lot because my vision is not just for me. It's a vision for the industry. Yeah, my industry is very young. It's less than 30 years old. It's 27 years old. SA Fashion Week, South African Fashion Week, is 27 years old. The designers that you see now, the black, brown designers that you see now who are leading it are from the last 10 years, 20, at most. We're a very young industry. So I need a lot because my vision is bigger than me.
That's super interesting because I'm seeing the same patterns because obviously we work in a creative space here and we had Nadia, who's now working both fashion and beauty and makeup, and she was saying similar things, especially around the makeup. DJ Spoo in media was saying the same thing. And obviously I work in the food space. We see similar things. We still don't see a lot of South African products in the fast consumer package space. So you are saying basically we are still trailblazing. There's still a lot of work where we are still creating paths so that others can follow.
100%, and it needs to be like that for the next 400 years, as they say.
Yeah.
Not everyone is a leader, Not everyone. My parents raised a leader out of me, I can tell you that. But not everybody, is like that. And it's okay because the industry, we can't all be. There needs to be balance. So the designers that are in the forefront now need to have that sense of responsibility for this to carry on. And we're just good. Like, we're a creative people. Like, brown people are super creative. So we need to be comfortable with doing that in our own little spaces, in your own little corner. It counts. It really counts.
The one thing I do want to say, though, that is, I think, important, of all the industries that I had the luxury to work in, from tech to food to now arts and culture, is people don't understand how important arts and culture is. And arts and culture, and I hate the term because it's like a catch-all, because there's very many strong industries within it, like fashion is an actual thing by itself. So is music, so is film, and so forth. But for a lack of a better word, if we were to just put them all together, let me explain why they're important. And I've seen this in real time. As I was saying, I was in New York just recently, and New York is like Alex. It's just a vertical Alex. Isn't it? Whereas Alex is like, but fundamentally it is. It's a lot of people, and a lot of people come from everywhere else, and everybody there is there to hustle. And it's like massive pressure. It's loud. It's like, it's Alex, vertical. But the thing I love about New York is, firstly, you sit on a train in the subway, you see so many different people. And you know how people present in terms of what they stand for or their values is how they dress. That's number one. That's how they identify. And I never realized, because me, I'm always wearing the same stuff. You know what I mean? But when you see it, when you watch people, how they identify, it's through what they wear, right? So that's super important, right? And it's called soft power when you summarize it. Like, for example, did you know that New York has got 167 songs just on the city New York? And New York is rough, bro. It's not like, it's not pretty. You know what I mean? It's to have 167 songs, it tells you that music, fashion, arts, culture can get everybody else in the world to love you even if they've never been there. So if we want to make sure everybody gets us as South Africans, this is why this matters. This is why people wear a cap that says New York. We need to have one that says Joburg. That's soft power. You start influencing everybody else in the world to know that we exist, we matter. And before you know it, everybody wants to come here. I happen to be at a concert random in a park. Guess what music is playing? Amapiano. People are dancing from all over the world. They're dancing to our music. They're singing our lyrics. They don't know what they mean, but they are singing. You know how proud that makes you feel? You are 8,000 kilometers away from home. People are singing my language. So what you guys do, don't let anyone diminish it. It's probably the most important thing that will influence societies, not just our own, others. So I hope you lean into it. And you know, when they say there's no money in your industry, whatever, don't buy the hype. There's no money until you are the last number in it, right? So keep pushing, and I genuinely hope you do, and believe in your cause, because it's a worthy one. And with that, we can open it up for the questions.
How do you balance the creativity and the business side of fashion? And how do you, like the day-to-day operations of it, what are they? How do you go about it?
That's a good question. That's a good question. So you want to know what my week looks like? Will that help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my week is very simple. So I have everything under one roof. So my store is there, my production is there, my office is there, showroom, just about everything. I get to the office on Monday and we have general meetings every Monday with the staff. And that is when I kind of look at I address all the departments. And what I do is every day, I give every single department a to-do list every single day. Every single person has got their own, and it's pretty long sometimes, every single day. And every single afternoon, they have to send a report based on the to-do list that I gave them every day without fail. The reports have to be in before 8 p.m. every day. They don't like it, but it works. Okay, and then I'm there Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays I go shopping, buying, inspiration. Thursdays I go in if I need to see clients, but during fashion week or busy seasons I go in every day. And when I'm there, I do just about everything. There's a whole lot of admin that we do. I create work also. We don't always have work. I create work and I enjoy doing it. So when I get home, I put my phone away. I've got 2 kids. I put my phone away so that, I can see my kids. I put it away for about 2 hours or so because they're all on me. And then when they get tired with me, that's when I pick it up. I charge it and then they go off to see. And then I pick it up for about an hour or so and I check in on the reports and I start to scribble. This is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And it works for me. It's the heart, it's the rhythm, it's the rhythm of the company. So if I wasn't sure of something, then there's a report every single day. I don't know if that helps anybody. Does that help anybody? Okay.
And then the balance of creativity and business side.
I really don't separate the two so much, or myself so much. My creativity is my business. So I'm very concerned, about it. I can move from a collar to a call that we need to make, or an email, or response that we need to make. It's all in one. It's all in one for me. Make your creativity your business, and you will see.
My question is how do you deal with the guilt of not feeling like you want to create as an artist?
Don't be guilty now. Why are you guilty? It's okay. Then you do what you feel like. You can't force it. You can't force creativity, guys. You can't force it. You can cultivate it. You go read a book. Go look for inspiration. Go browse through magazines. Watch a movie that you love. It generate those good feelings again. What is it that you like doing? Listen to a good song. Add something else that you enjoy doing that will just raise those good feelings again, and then you'll be back to it in no time. And it's also your mind telling you that you need to rest, a little bit. It's okay, but also you can rest for a day. It's okay. The following day you got to work. Sometimes you have to put yourself in a place where you are there and you have to scribble. I don't know, what do? You're a musician, yeah? So what do you need to do on a daily basis? Write.
Produce, and all those things.
Yeah, know what other things. You clearly have enough drive to focus on other things. Like you need to be driven at all times. So find other things that inspire you, and they will fuel the core, product that you produce.
I want to know how crucial is PR, especially when there's opportunities that you know that it's gonna take you to the next level and open doors for you, because you want to take advantage of the credibility it will give to your brand and portfolio.
PR in what sense?
Just I knew as Montu from back then when you were the underdog that was using sOperate when sOperate was not the coolest print or attire to wear, and you disappeared and left to go study and advance yourself. You came back, and I was reading that article, and I thought to myself, so coming back into the industry, were you now financially able to implement your strategy like you mentioned, or you had to start afresh again?
I start afresh every day.
So those type of articles, that's what I'm talking about, where
people write about you?
Exactly.
Hired PR is, you have to get it when you need it. Like when you have something to say, when you have a product to launch, when you have an offering, that is when you need to get PR. It's not just, but you will be like, it's part of the business. People will call you up for interviews. Show up on time, show up looking good, smelling good, and because you also need, the PR training. You also need it. So it's part of the trade. I don't think it's something that you need to worry about. I think when you have the opportunity to showcase, you've got to show up, because then that will give you free PR. People will want to write about you if you have something to say, and to offer.
What advice would you have for the youth, young people that want to do fashion shows, that want to be in the same level as you? What advice would you have for them?
It's a lot of work. It's really a lot of internal work. It's a lot of lifting. You have to be your biggest fan. You have got to be your biggest fan. And then you've got to surround yourself with people who are your biggest fans. And not in a pathetic kind of, way, who just, people who are there for the wrong reasons. But there has to be someone who can whisper, someone who can remind you that you rock in your ear, be it your mom, but there's got to be someone who can tell you that. That's one. Number two, you've got to get up and start over every day. I'm 20 years in and I'm still doing it. It takes, so everything that you think it takes to get here, multiply it by 500. And then maybe you'll get to 10 years. It really takes blood, sweat, and tears. Honestly, you will cry a lot along the way. Okay? Fortunately, I've never felt like quitting, but I would say that maybe the industry has quit on me, and then I said, you have to fight for your spot. That's what it is. You have to fight for it.
It's a mindset.
Yeah. And I think also success is many, many, many things. There are many people who are successful and are not on my level. They are higher than me. Some are, some are just moving sideways. They're not trying to reach the ceiling. You don't have to try to reach the ceiling all the time. First of all, you have to take care of yourselves, guys. I have to say this. You really have to take care of yourselves, and then things will shape up for you. You have to make good decisions for yourself personally. As a young man and a young woman, you've got to, it's about how you treat people. It's about how, the level of, commitment you have to the small tasks. It's about, the little things. And then one day you will wake up and you're 20 years old and you're 20 years into your business and you don't even know. So it really, as the shine, shine. It's not a very shiny road. It's really, really not. It's far from it. It's every day and working. It's working in your gown.
And just maybe to double click on that, the reason we would tell you this is not to discourage you. It's to tell you that when it gets hard, at least you can't say you didn't know. Because I think a lot of people quit because they thought it would be hard, but not as hard as it actually does get, and they think they're doing it wrong. No, it's just, it is part of the journey. So the purpose of having sessions like this is to tell you from the people who've gone down that path, so to better prepare you so that when you hit those hard yards, you know that, it's part of the course. Like, okay, this is what they meant by this is what's happening now. Right? And I think the best thing, quote I like, was Muhammad Ali. They asked him, how many sit-ups does he do? And he says he doesn't know. And they said, how? How do you not know how many sit-ups you do? He says, no, I only start counting when it's painful. And that's the kind of chops you need in this game, right? So, but it does work out. And the upsides are super amazing, man. So, like, the greats are greats, but it's a journey to get to them.
You know, I think that it would be a disservice to not mention to you that a huge part of the hard times, yes, does come from you not having enough money. I get. Let's tell the truth. I get. Let's tell the truth. Sometimes you just don't have enough money to do what you need to do, how you want to do it. You know, you just don't. But you have to find a way. You have to find a, you know, Gavin Reddy once gave me an assignment. He came to me, my business was down and out. Like 8 years into my business, I was down and out. And he came to my studio and I had tons and tons of clothes, tons, rails and rails of clothes. And he said to me, you know, you're sitting on money. Your assignment is to sell all these clothes. First of all, is to see what they're worth. What is the worth of the product that you have in your hand right now? What's the worth? What's the value? Right. And then somehow try to sell them. And that will be your money. He said to me, you are not making this money because you don't have to. He said, imagine someone took your child or your most precious possession and said to you, I will not, kept it at ransom and said, give atla however much money you need. Give atla bukan. Right? You'll make a plan. You'll make a plan, or else you will make a plan. Long story short, I sold not everything. I was really, really scared to go to Gavin. I was very afraid of him in the beginning. I was very scared to go to him and told him that I only sold 80% of it. And I did. And he was very proud of me. He said, you at least tried. And I raised that money so I could shut my doors. So I could pay off and shut my doors and go on a break and restructure. And then that's when I went to study. So the thing is, a lot of your stresses are going to come from the fact that you don't have money. But you have to remember that your currency is your product. That is your currency.
Switch to MTN and dial *411# to join MTN Pulse for discounted data offers and dope experiences for under 25s. T's and C's apply.